What's up, everybody? It's Friday, and that means it's time for JT's Bang Bang Plays. A 13-game slate tonight. Of course, that means we have a game in Coors Field. I mean, just because it's 13 games doesn't mean we have a game in Coors Field, but never mind, we do. So we've got to navigate that. We've got a ton of pitching and offensive options, and I'm going to give you what is essentially my first look in taking a glance at the slate, talk about some pitching options and some offensive options. Like and subscribe to the Run Pure Sports YouTube network so that we can continue to bring you these types of videos. So let's get right into it. A lot of pitching options, as I mentioned tonight. And at the top end, you've got guys like Tyler Glasnow at home against the Mets. He's 10.9K. Max Scherzer, 10.7 on the road in Arizona against what is now a watered-down Arizona lineup. Asdrubal Cabrera injured last night. Looked like it was something that is going to cost him at least a couple of games. But at the top range, I think my favorite guy so far is going to be Clayton Kershaw at home against the Miami Marlins. Look, I've said this a couple of times this week that I think we as DFS players want these Marlins to be better than they actually are in real life. And Jesus Aguilar aside, though, he has been absolutely torrid this week. A couple of home runs in the series in Arizona, but I'm going to go with Clayton Kershaw. He is looking just as good as he has in the past, and Miami really struggles against left-handed pitching. 24% strikeout rate and just a 64 weighted runs creation plus metric. So at home, can we trust Dave Roberts to leave him in a little longer? Of course not. We can never trust Dave Roberts, but they did get out to a really big lead against the Angels last week, and that's why he only pitched 5 innings. I think he goes at least 6, and if he does that with the strikeout upside, he should do more than enough to be in the top 3 in terms of scoring for pitchers tonight. A little bit cheaper for pitching. It's a guy that I don't think a lot of people are going to roster. He's projected to be pretty low owned at this point. It's a guy that has some good talent and really good underlying metrics. Has been hit or miss in his starts this year. A couple of really good starts against the Phillies. The rest, not so much. But David Peterson going into Tampa Bay for the New York Mets. This is a Tampa Bay team also that struggles tremendously against left-handed pitching. How tremendously? A 36% strikeout rate, a 66 weighted runs creation plus. And David Peterson himself has a 29% strikeout rate. Now, the Rays look to be getting a little bit right, but it's mostly their left-handed hitters. I know Randy Arozarena did hit a home run, but I think that was against a right-handed pitcher late in the game yesterday. At 7-4 on DraftKings, I'm going to ride with David Peterson and his talent against a Tampa Bay team that, like I say, really struggles against left-handed pitching. We do like to target pitching in that park. So David Peterson, 7.4. You can pair him with Clayton Kershaw and get a really good lineup around that. I'm going to give you an honorable mention just because this guy is due for a rebound. He has the talent. He's shown it this year. He's already thrown a no-hitter this year. The only downside to Joe Musgrove is he's probably going to be the most popular pitcher on the slate at 8.7K. He is at home in a park where we like to target pitching more than hitting against the St. Louis Cardinals. St. Louis, middle of the pack against right-handed pitchers. They have some power, of course, but I think that Joe Musgrove's talent can win this matchup. He has done that in the past against the Cardinals, as a matter of fact. Joe Musgrove, 8.7K, and he's got the 3rd highest strikeout rate on the slate and a $2,000 discount from the likes of Tyler Glasnow and Max Scherzer. So, honorable mention goes to Joe Musgrove at 8.7K. Now that we've got our pitchers, at least the 3 pitchers that I'm going to focus on primarily as my starting pitcher ones on DraftKings, let's take a look at some of these offenses and the game in Coors. I'm not going to talk about that game on this video. Of course, you can always target them. I mean, unfortunately, last night, by the time the Reds realized they were in Coors Field, they had already pulled half of their starters, so it wasn't the explosion that we were hoping for. But you've got Wade Miley there, who just threw a no-hitter. I think everybody knows I like to target guys against those guys coming off of those games. But Miley, a ground ball pitcher. This Rockies team scored, I think, 12 or 13 runs last night. I don't know if I'm going to be going back there again. And then on the other side, DraftKings has priced German Marquez all the way down at 5.4K. I haven't decided yet if that's a complete trap or if he can get us 20 points tonight against the Reds. Still like some pieces of that Reds offense, but the Reds, the Cubs, the Dodgers, really priced up for their best bats in the high fives. I'm not talking 5K. I'm talking 5.5, 5.6, 6.3 for Nick Castellanos. Not saying that he might not be worth it, but I think there's still math involved here in DFS. So we're going to look a little bit to some other spots here, and one spot in particular. I don't know if people have noticed that this park has become, and is so far, unfortunately this is the last weekend of it, the second best hitters park in baseball on the season. And that's the park in Dunedin, Florida. And Vince Velasquez, a fly ball throwing right-handed pitcher, hard throwing right-handed pitcher, comes into town and takes on a Toronto Blue Jay lineup that I have loved to play so far this season. This is the type of pitcher that they really eat up for the most part. Hard throwing, fly ball pitchers. The wind, it's going to be warm in Dunedin because it's warm in Florida this time of year, as you know. But the wind is also going to be blowing out to right field 20 miles per hour. So I think the Toronto Blue Jays are going to put up a bunch of runs here against Vince Velasquez and a Philly bullpen that has really come back down to earth. Vince had a couple of decent starts here just in the last couple of weeks, but I think he's going to come back down to earth as well. And his 2.2 home run rate per 9 inning is going to show itself tonight. My favorite play on the Blue Jays, Vladimir Guerrero Jr. Love to target him against hard-throwing right-handed pitchers. Add in the fact that Velasquez is a fly ball pitcher, and it really is a trifecta here. Vince against Vlad. Vlad is 5.7K. You can steal on Vince Velasquez, so Bo Bichette at 5.4. And then Kevin Biggio finally starting to turn it around. Seeing a lot of pitches, 35% walk rate over the last 6 or 7 days, and he broke out yesterday in a big way against the Atlanta Braves. Spurred the Blue Jays on to a win there. Biggio is underpriced for this matchup at 3.4. Like I mentioned, that wind blowing out to right field. So there's a good chance that he sends one into the jet stream tonight. So Toronto Blue Jays against Vince Velasquez and the Philadelphia Phillies. Second team, I struggled a little bit with. I think there's a lot of good spots. You've got the Minnesota Twins going up in a home matchup against Frankie Montas. It's really been a bad matchup for Montas. Just 6 or 7 innings pitched and 10 earned runs against the Minnesota Twins. But the Twins are hot and cold. I like the other side of that matchup as well. Oakland Athletics against Matt Shoemaker. Matt Shoemaker, one of the worst pitchers in baseball so far this season. Maybe he'll turn it around. But I think I roster the Oakland A's too much, so I'm going to go in a different direction and go back to a team that did pretty well yesterday in the Washington Nationals on the road against Riley Smith. Riley Smith had a bit of a decent start against the Mets until the walks kind of got up there and caused him a little bit of trouble. But in this matchup, it's in Arizona. Expect the roof to be open tonight. Juan Soto, 5.4. He really hasn't turned it on. He's shown signs that he's coming out of his early season troubles. I expect him to get going tonight. Josh Bell and Kyle Schwarber both underpriced at 3.6 and 3.7K. So I like going back to this stack here, especially if you want to fit in one of the more expensive stacks and get up to the guys like the Kershaws or even the Scherzers and pair them with the Petersons or the Joe Musgroves of the world. So Toronto Blue Jays, Washington Nationals. If you're not a member at Run Pure Sports, we're going to have a lot of updates as the day goes on. There'll be umpire assignments coming out. There's some weather that we're going to be watching, and we're going to be digging in throughout the day. So runpuresports.com, enter RPS Heater 25 if you're not a member. Whether you are a member or not, like this video, subscribe to the Run Pure Sports YouTube network. Let's recap what we're going to do tonight, at least what we're looking at so far in this early look on Friday morning for the 13-game slate. We're going to look at Clayton Kershaw and David Peterson as pitching options. Like them against two teams that have been really poor against left-handed pitching in the Miami Marlins and the Tampa Bay Rays. We're also going to look at Joe Musgrove. He is going to be popular tonight, but look, maybe his ownership goes down a little if people are looking at his game logs. But his last 3 starts, 2 games against the first place San Francisco Giants. Can you believe that? The first place San Francisco Giants, who don't strike out a lot, and the game before that against the Los Angeles Dodgers. So I think this is a nice bounce back spot for Musgrove. And then talked about the higher priced offenses, the Cubs against Tariq Skubal. I don't even know if I can go there just because of the way that the Cubs have been poor against left-handed pitching, but I'm not sure if I need to risk Tariq Skubal tonight. The Reds, very high-priced in Colorado, in Coors Field, and then the Dodgers, high-priced as well in a really good matchup at home, I think, against Sandy Alcantara, who pitches much better at home. But we're going to look to the Toronto Blue Jays and the Washington Nationals as our main source of offense tonight, and like some one-offs in these other spots that I mentioned. Coors Field, you can still get some cheaper players there, and then Minnesota and Oakland. That's it for this edition of JT's Bang Bang Plays. Like this video, subscribe to the Run Pure Sports YouTube network, and most of all, Run Pure tonight.